Hi everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. Today we're going to discuss the Red Wings. This is kind of like an update. I mean, it's not halfway, it's more than halfway through the season now. So it's just kind of a Red Wings update. What we're seeing so far, we're going to talk a little bit about Blashill being extended. We're going to talk a little bit about goaltending. So keep on watching for that. Currently, the Red Wings are at the time of this video, a 24-28-7. We're second place in the wild card, so we're like 2 out of actually being in the playoffs, or we're in the wild card.
Yeah.
We would be technically in the playoffs now if it were now.
We're in a different spot than last year.
Yes, we are doing better than last year. And that is kind of a little victory, because you want to see year over year. You want to see that growth. And I do think that we are seeing that. We're starting to see the development take. So we're going to talk about that today.
I feel like this is just kind of, we want to talk about this because there's a lot of ups and downs going on right now. A lot of burning torches and then really happy people, and it just fluctuates so much.
The fan base is very fickle sometimes.
Much like Michigan weather.
I can be
matches
too.
Our surroundings.
I can be too.
Yes.
You guys stink.
I love
You're amazing.
We're all bipolar, basically.
Yeah.
So, general overview, it's been a tough season for the Red Wings, and pretty much any team goes through this, like sustaining injuries, transactions, the COVID protocol is still a thing in some places. We just got Vrana back, and he's a big point producer for our team, and so having him gone up until recently has been tough. Now we're without Robbie Fabry, who has a torn ACL. So
that was a really bad draw.
That is a tough draw, Herb.
That's really sad.
It is. It's very sad because now we're looking at, he's a big point producer. He had 35 points this season.
Just like when Vrana was out, it was like, oh my goodness. Can't catch a break with that.
So, and like any team sees this, there's lots of teams with far worse injuries going on right now, but this is something that in the midst of our rebuilding and development, it's a really hard hit because our team is not to the point where we can really compensate for that quite yet.
Because we end up getting people, of course, from Grand Rapids. They've been stepping in. Joe Veleno has been called up for the Red Wings. Taro Hirose has been with the Red Wings. We've had, of course, Michael Rasmussen has been there the whole season. It's just trying to fill the gaps of players. And if you don't have someone 100% comparable, you're going to see that effect. Right. So a second thing, I think the biggest thing in this update with even the Griffins and the Red Wings is lack of consistency. When you see a team that makes it all the way to winning the Cup, even to the playoffs, you see a team that you have to be consistent the entire season. You can't falter multiple games in a row. You can. It's just the thing about getting to the playoffs is that every line has to do work. No matter what. You saw this back when the Red Wings won the Cup when they had the grind line. That line was able to propel the puck into the zone where it needed to be for the top line to get in there.
Propel is a good word for that.
They would every line was doing something, and you see that in the teams that win the Cup. Every line contributes. The goaltender's there, every single line. It's not just the top guys. It's not just the top line. Every line is contributing. So that would be one lack of consistency that we see where, of course, you've got the guys who are always doing something. Right. Larkin, Bertuzzi, Raymond, Seider. You're seeing those guys, and now Vrana, again, always doing something, always producing. But, the other guys stepping up at the same time is what's, I think, needed.
And that's where I think you see the difference in hockey comparatively to other sports, where you can have a phenomenal individual effort and still lose.
Sure.
Where you have to have your teammates, where, like what Janae was saying, the grind line, the whole line did the work. It wasn't just one person on that line. And there are several players with Detroit that are amazing players.
Yeah.
Raymond and Seider. Larkin's doing very well. Bertuzzi's doing really well. Fabry was doing amazing. Gagne, Stahl, all these guys.
Yeah. Letty has his times too.
Exactly. They're all doing their jobs individually, but it seems like there's a lack of cohesion with both levels. Because it is a season where everyone, they're going out there, they're doing their job. But you do have to have the entire line on board in order to make it happen for the next line up. And with that too, the biggest kind of faltering I see is, as far as the consistency goes, is kind of defensive. The inability for the defense to be consistent. We just had a game where we had 50 shots faced.
It was, I think, 41 shots faced. But what strikes me,
it's not the first time that's happened.
Strikes me is period over period. So we will have 5 shots to their 30 shots, and that to me is insane. To where the night before our D is on it, and we're the shots are more even. But then again, that also depends on the power play situation, because of course they're going to have more shots on goal because they're going to have more possession just based on the fact that you're down a guy, and our power play is not that great, and our PK is not that great. So that kind of stuff, and that is, I would say that those stats fluctuate quite a bit, so it's hard to put a lot of stock in that. That's just kind of something that we notice, something that clues us in, like, okay, So the D isn't always on it, and it's always, of course, there's Cider that's amazing right now. Roenick sometimes has his games, but at the same time, of course, every factor has to work.
I mean, it takes the forwards being able to take that and also get shots in return.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of just not working together on that.
Yeah.
And also, we have noticed that, the Red Wings aren't backing down on the physical sense of things this year. They are fighting back, but they're not as physical as some other teams. And we've noticed this in Grand Rapids, too, where there's definitely some games where we are not finishing our checks. And it's so important. If you're going to get a guy off the puck, sometimes you do have to lay into him a little bit. And the skill and finesse can only go so far. You do have to have a physical element to the game, and I think Detroit is stepping that up this season way more than last season.
Yeah.
But it's just not quite to the level where it needs to be, and I think we are getting knocked off kind of soon.
And I don't know if our team more than others, just based on the fact that I just don't know if we get harassed more than others. They're does jealous. Seem, well, I know from just logic that the way to get a really skilled guy off a puck is to hit him. Yeah. If you can't get the puck, if you can't outdazzle him, you're going to hit him against the boards, you're going to get the puck. So if we can take that, if we can, use that against them, do the same thing and be more physical, that would be great. And finishing your check is so important, and I just feel like that's something that can kind of go to the wayside.
Yeah.
And I do think that they are standing up for themselves more, which is great to see, because the last thing I like to see is them just laying down. Yeah. And I don't think that they've been doing that, which is great.
Yeah, we're not a team of Lady Bings. Like they're willing to throw.
You can only have a couple of those on the team.
Datsyuk's the only one I will.
Otherwise, something that gained a lot of interest in the past couple of weeks was Jeff Blashill being extended, which wasn't a huge shock to me or to Rachel, to us together.
Because we're so smart.
Because we're so smart. But the thing that Yzerman even said is that the team needs to be better. So the fact that, to me, Blashill has shown development, if that makes sense. So the team itself is getting better season over season, which is something that you want to see. And that's just a general outlook. That's a very basic,
very broad.
He's the leader at the helm, except for, of course, Yzerman.
Right.
But it doesn't speak to the fact, it's not like he's with us forever. So people freaking out that he was extended, this doesn't mean that he's like a lifelong Red Wing.
Right,
I mean, he could be replaced. It could happen. I just don't think right now, Yzerman's seeing right now as the time.
Right.
Because we still need a team in front of it, the ones that are out there playing. Need to pick it up.
Yeah. If you've got a team full of doorknobs, it doesn't matter how good your coach is. And not saying our guys are doorknobs, but at the same time, and Janae's right, and Yzerman's right. Hello, he's the GM. But, they have to get these talented players into the system. And the development system has changed over the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
So plugging these guys into a system that is functioning, it is working, it is showing, improvement. It might not be leaps and bounds like everyone wants to see, but we are doing better.
Yeah.
And if Yzerman thinks that Blashill's the guy that's going to make this happen, even for another season, then so be it. He might not. He might have a different plan, but again, Yzerman has a very direct say in what happens on the ice during game time.
Lines and everything.
Exactly. So it's like, you can whip Blashill all you want, but Yzerman's also leading this. So, the leadership, they're in agreement, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and we don't want to make it sound like Yzerman's infallible, but the fact is, I trust Yzerman's leadership. So
He's been doing this longer than we have.
Yeah, I trust his leadership. Of course, just because the GM says doesn't make it the right decision, of course. That's completely obvious. But I trust his leadership in this, and I don't think it would do us any favors right now replacing Blashill at this time. So in the future, if there's a great coach that comes along, I would be up for that. That would be great too. Yeah. So I'm not either way with Blashill. If he's there, if he's not.
Yeah.
He's
not
okay
emotionally
with me.
connected either way, but it is what it is.
And we're the ones that matter, so.
Obviously.
So positives from all this. This is kind of a lot of, not like concrete evidence that we've given you or concrete stats or anything like that, but basically just how we've seen the season going so far. Of course, the obvious one is rookie growth.
Yes.
With Moritz Seider, and Lucas Raymond leading that rookie growth, it's been amazing to see freshly drafted guys pulling incredible weight.
Yeah, and that's something, too, if you look in seasons past, it's not something we've experienced in a while.
Not in a while,
so that, I mean, you can get lost in the fact that, we're getting blown out in some games and that kind of thing, but these guys are still doing very well, and this is what we want to see.
It's that individual effort that we'd like to see as a whole.
Exactly. And another thing, too, is the on-ice leadership. And I know Dylan Larkin had a rough season last season. Between, I think, the Jamie Benn cross-check thing, everyone's still mad about that.
Rachel's still mad.
I'm still mad about it because Ben still didn't get punished for it. But, he was struggling with injury. People were saying he was not the correct leader in the locker room after Zetterberg stepped down. I don't get that either, but he's leading the team with points right now, and he is proving that he is capable of leading this team on the ice, and he has a very good growth mindset, and he believes in this team. So,
well, I think he's got the respect of the team too, which is very important in being the captain. You have to have the respect of your team.
Especially a young captain.
You saw that with Zetterberg, you saw it with Lindstrom, you saw it with Yzerman.
Yep.
They had the respect of the team. That's important. If you see your captain out there kicking his butt, you're all going to
he's all in, and that's something too that I don't think that a lot of people are naysayers right now, but just coming to Larkin's defense where he is leading this team on the ice very well. I think he's carrying it. It's a tough season. It has been, and I think he's carrying the burden very well.
They deal with the losses just like fans, not just worse than fans do. And to have
it's
fans that throw jerseys on the ice because they lost one's guys, settle down.
Don't.
Don't. Settle down.
I want McCarty to meet that person.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just basically learning to be creative, learning to get the team working as a team. The individual effort is great, as we've seen, of course, the Bertuzzi, the Larkin, the Raymond, the Sider, all of those, key phrase guys have been doing super great. And then plus some, Vrana coming back and immediately showing production. I'd like to just see that grow, to see every line be trustworthy like that, to produce like that, and have some more faith in the goalies. They face a lot. They face a lot of shots. And I personally think that the style of both of them is great. And I think that they have a lot to grow on. And I think that this isn't long-term. The goalies we have right now, I don't think are long-term. We're trying to get the ones that we've drafted. We're trying to get that development going too. So we're still in development, guys.
And that's one thing I think we're having a hard time remembering, because we did have streaks of lots of victories this season. We started off.
It is better. It is. It's a better season than last year.
But you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. You're going to have those really good times and those really rough times.
Every team does.
Exactly. So give the guys some grace. We're not last this year, guys. I mean, that's
great.
That's a win, I'd say.
It's not only not last, we're in technically right now wild card spot. That's leaps and bounds.
Huge improvement.
Leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to grow on.
There is.
I'm sure every team would say
Next season's going to be even better.
That's right. You got that. All right, so that's basically our Red Wings update for right now in the season. Let us know in the comments if you've been watching and what you think. Who's been your standout so far? Who do you like to watch? Who are you excited to see on ice? Let us know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. Forgot to say it again earlier. Like and subscribe. One day we'll remember.
I'm going to add it to the notes in the top. Maybe
subscribe. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye. See you guys
later.